everyone, it's Cynthia with What's Cooking, and today I'm so excited. We are going to be making homemade yogurt in our crock pot. This is an incredible recipe. I ran out of it about 4 days ago and I have been craving it, so I can't wait to make it and show you how easy it is to make homemade yogurt. We're just going to start out with whole milk, and I'm going to be doing 3 quarts. So start out with whole milk. That's usually the best way to go when you're beginning, and then if you want to, you can move to lower fat milks. But I actually really prefer the whole milk. It's really creamy and it works really well, and the yogurt comes out a little bit thicker. So I'm going to start out with 3 quarts of whole milk. Okay, so that's 3 quarts of milk, and you don't have to do this much yogurt, but with 5 kids I find that it's a lot easier to do it. I'm going to start out on about medium-high to start getting the temperature up. And I've just got a basic meat thermometer here, but you can use any thermometer as long as it's digital and it has an accurate reading. I was actually surprised some of my thermometers that I had in my drawer are not that accurate, so make sure that you test it, that you know that you've got a good thermometer. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to periodically check the temperature of my milk. So right here you can see this milk right here is about 61 degrees. And what we want to do is we want to slowly bring the temperature of the milk up to 180 degrees, which is the temperature that's recommended by the major yogurt manufacturers. We want to make sure that we kill off anything that we don't want growing in our yogurt. And then I'm just using a spatula because it's got a nice flat bottom, and I'm just going to sit here like this and I'm going to stir it. You don't have to do it constantly, but after a few minutes, as the temperature starts to get a little hotter, I'm going to turn the stove down to medium. This is probably going to take about 7 or 8 minutes to get it up to about 180 degrees. While that's doing that, I've got my crock pot here, and I'm going to turn it on to high to get it heated up a little bit. So that is going to be getting nice and warm over there. And then I'll just stand here and stir this for a few minutes. Okay, so here we are. Come and see. We're about 178 degrees right now, and it's climbing pretty fast. It usually climbs pretty fast at the end. It's probably been, what do you think, 8 or 9 minutes probably since I started. Just going to wait another second here. And there we go, 180 degrees. See how the milk is kind of frothy? That's normal, but I've got a good temperature here. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off the heat. And now I'm going to take this straight over to my sink. Here, I've prepared an ice bath of water. And I'm going to sit here over here, and I'm going to stir it as I bring the temperature down quickly. And I need the temperature to come down to about 115 degrees. So once I get 115 degrees, then we'll put it straight into the crock pot. In the meantime, while this is cooling and I don't have to stand here and stir it quite as much, I'm going to go ahead and turn on my oven because, and just so you know, I took out one of my oven racks because I'm going to need all this space in my oven. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. Just start it up, and I'm going to let it kind of start to heat up for about 3 minutes because I want it to be just slightly warm, but it needs to be warm enough that it can help maintain the temperature for the yogurt while it's in the process. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and keep checking my milk over here, and I'll be back in a few minutes as soon as it's done. Alright, we're at 115 degrees. It needs to be anywhere between 112 and 115 degrees. I'm going to pull it straight out of my ice bath. Let's see where we're at. Let's stir up a little. cooling off pretty quickly. There we go. 111. So I'm going to want to bring the temperature up just a little bit before we take this out. My crock pot's warm. Once it starts to plummet, it really plummets quickly. So pull it out fast. I'm going to go ahead and put this in my warm crock pot. That should also help get my temperature between 112 and 115. Oven is warm. I'm going to go ahead and add the yogurt. Now this is a store-bought yogurt. I'm using it as a starter. I definitely recommend Greek yogurt. I tried to make this. It was actually a miserable failure with just regular plain yogurt. That did not work. So make sure you're using the Greek yogurt with the 5 active cultures in it. You can find that on your ingredient list. I'm just going to put this right into, and oh, the amount that I'm putting in, I'm doing 1/4 cup of yogurt per quart of whole milk. So I'm using 3/4 cup. I've got 3 quarts of milk here. Okay. Just grab myself a wire whisk and just kind of blend that in because I want it to kind of all mix together. Now, I need to check my temperature here because it was a little low. So I'm going to check it and make sure I haven't dropped it too far. Okay, it's reading about 112.8. So it's in the range. Oh good. I've got about 113 right here. So we're within range. So I'm going to then, as soon as I have that really good and mixed in, I'm going to quickly put the lid on and unplug it. Okay, now for the interesting thing. Got these 2 big bath towels in here and I'm going to use them. I'm using the biggest, fluffiest ones that I have. And I'm going to wrap up the entire crock pot in bath towels. Okay. And be sure not to slosh it out because the lid's not a tight-fitting lid. There's one. Ooh, dropped my light. Okay. And there's the second one. Nice and tight. You're just trying to keep the heat trapped in here as much as possible. Okay, now my oven is preheated. Well, it's not hot, but it is warm. And I don't want it to be hot. In fact, it might be a tiny bit warmer than I want. So I'm going to let it stay open for just a minute because I don't want it to be too hot. I don't want it to burn my towels, or I don't want it to cook the yogurt. I want it to help maintain the temperature. And it's going to sit in here for about 8 or 9 hours. So you do want it to be warm, but not hot. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and just put this straight into the oven. The whole entire thing. Towels and cord and everything. Such a fun recipe. And that's it. So it's 10:45 p.m. So I'm going to come back in about 8 hours or so and I will check my yogurt and see how it's done. It's basically all there is to it. I didn't mention that I got the recipe from my sister, who got it from a friend, who found it on a blog and then changed it. Anyway, so this is kind of where we've ended up with, and I think it's absolutely fantastic. It does make plain yogurt, but you can add fruit or sweetener to it if you'd like. My personal favorite and what my kids really like is adding some of my homemade freezer jam. So just put some plain yogurt in a bowl, put in about a tablespoon or teaspoon, a heaping teaspoon of homemade freezer jam, and just stir it in, and you've got your fruit and sugar and all that all in one, and it tastes fantastic. So anyway, there you have it, homemade plain yogurt. Okay, good morning. It's about 7 o'clock in the morning and I'm ready to see how our yogurt turned out. Let's take a look. Oh, I can smell it. It smells like yogurt. Okay. Let's see. Unwrap the big bath towels. And let's see what we've got. So as you can see how it was kind of tilted when it was in the oven, so it's kind of tipping, but this is what we have. We've got this gorgeous yogurt. And one thing that I did last time was I made my own starter so that I don't have to buy more Greek yogurt from the store. I got an ice cube tray and I just put some of my fresh yogurt into the ice cube tray, and next time I can measure out about the same amount, the 3/4 of a cup, and I can put it in and use it as starter instead of having to buy some more Greek yogurt. So it pretty much just keeps propagating itself once you've done that. So anyway, there's our gorgeous yogurt. It's got a little liquid here on top. I'm just going to drain that off and we'll be good to go. I hope you enjoyed the yogurt and I hope you try it, because honestly it tastes incredible.